On the 23rd of July 1856, Gangadhar Pant Tilak was beside himself with joy. His wife had just given birth to a baby boy. This baby was none other than Bal Gangadhar Tilak, a child destined for greatness. When Tilak was 10, his father was transferred from Ratnagiri to Pune. This was great news for the family. Young Tilak could finally receive the best education. At school, Tilak was equal parts clever and stubborn. Even in the face of punishment, he refused to turn his back on what he believed. This stubborn honesty irked his teachers immensely. A few years later, when he got married, his father-in-law offered to give Tilak a gold ring. Tilak refused the offer. Instead, he asked for books. Tilak believed that knowledge was far more valuable than gold could ever hope to be. At the age of 17, Tilak enrolled into the Deccan College. Tilak wore a silk dhoti on his first day there. The other boys started making fun of him for being so traditional. Unfazed, Tilak retorted, "Why can't I wear a traditional outfit? Don't the Europeans wear their formal suits for dinners?" A fellow student, Daji Abaji Khare, was impressed by Tilak's straightforward attitude. The two soon struck up a close friendship. Khare taught Tilak to wrestle. In turn, Tilak stunned Khare with his impressive swimming skills. All this time spent playing took its toll on Tilak's studies. When he failed the first year arts exam, Tilak realized that change was necessary. He would need to strike a healthy balance between work and play. He did just that. Tilak excelled at studies. He was even honored by the well-known mathematician, Professor Chatre. Tilak then went on to study law. This was when he met Gopal Ganesh Agarkar, a fellow student and a budding social reformer. The two of them got on instantly. The duo dreamed of bringing about social reforms. It was this dream that led them, along with their friend Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar, to found the New English School. Educating kids wasn't enough to bring true change. They knew educating adults was equally important. In order to educate the adults, Chiplunkar suggested starting a newspaper. Tilak loved this idea but made one tiny suggestion. They would publish not one but two newspapers. So came into being Kesari, a Marathi weekly, and Maratha, an English weekly. The three friends set up a printing press in the school premises. They even went door to door to distribute the paper. The papers had their desired effect. The masses soon grew eager to hear Tilak's opinions on various social and political matters. Tilak's words soon became their truth. Tilak, Chiplunkar and Agarkar also started the Ferguson College in Pune and set up the Deccan Education Society. Tilak was on the constant lookout for ways to educate the masses. He constantly sought to find new ways to bring different communities together. For example, in the early 1890s, the British had banned all public gatherings. Now, this exempted all religious festivals. So Tilak, to get around this draconian law, began the public celebrations of Ganesh Chaturthi. He even visited the fort of Raigad and started celebrating Shivaji Maharaj's birth anniversary. When a drought parched the fields of Maharashtra, the farmers were forced to sell their houses. Tilak would not stand for this. "You've lost your crops. Now, do you wish to lose your homes too?" Instead of giving up, he urged the farmers to demand help from the government. The battle against drought was soon followed by the war against the plague. In the year 1896, there was an outbreak of the bubonic plague all over Pune. Misery and disease gripped the city. Initially, the government ignored the people's plight. When they finally got around to addressing the issue, however, their solutions were inhumane. Charles Rand, the plague's commissioner's methods were callous. He ripped apart families, forcefully separated the infected ones, and dumped them in hospitals. While the healthy ones, they were carted off to segregation camp. Charles Rand and his men weren't shy of using brute force. It's no wonder then that the residents of Pune were more scared of the officers than the plague itself. Tilak wrote fierce articles about Rand's measures in his papers. He didn't stop there. Tilak set up a separate segregation camp to help the victims and their relatives. Tired of this unceasing ruthlessness, Damodar Hari Chapekar, along with his brothers, assassinated Charles Rand. The government used this opportunity to accuse Tilak of instigating the Chapekar brothers. Soon, Tilak was arrested under charges of sedition. Tilak was released from jail on 6 September 1898. A few years later, in the year 1905, Lord Curzon announced his plans to partition Bengal. Tilak saw this move as a means to divide the Bengali Hindus and the Muslims. The partition gave further impetus to the Swadeshi movement. All around the nation, Indians boycotted foreign goods. The violent ripples of the partition were felt for years. This tension exploded when the extremists bombed the British residence of Muzaffarpur. Once again, the police blamed Tilak for instigating this act. Tilak, during his trial at the Bombay High Court, kept insisting on his innocence. In spite of his pleas, Tilak was sentenced to 6 years in the Mandalay prison. People were outraged, and the city of Bombay even went on a 6-day strike. After 6 long and arduous years, Tilak was finally released from prison. Tilak's time in prison did not deter his revolutionary spirit. When his loved ones tried to persuade him to retire from politics, Tilak flat out refused. How can I indulge in literature when my country is a slave to the British? Tilak spent the rest of his life promoting the Home Rule movement. He strongly believed that Indians had the right to manage their own affairs. It was during this time that he uttered those eternal words, "Swaraj is my birthright." 8 months later, on the 1st of August 1920, Bal Gangadhar Tilak passed away. Tilak's vision for an independent India did not die with him. It lived on in the hearts of countless Indians. It was Tilak's words that inspired them to continue their fight. All of this until the 15th of August 1947, when India was finally freed from the shackles of the British.